Hola. Huh?
Che suona se stai lì.
Ah, okay. Have a good day. Good morning. Today, people, I want to show you exactly how we go about writing YouTube videos. So how we go from a blank piece of paper in this book, and then you go to a finished video. So we'll take a stroll around Milan, we'll grab a coffee, a place to sit, and then I want to show you exactly how to go from idea to finished video. You ready, Toby?
Yeah, let's go.
Nice. We've now arrived at a cozy little cafe here in Milano, and for me personally, going outside and visiting coffee shops, etc., is where I get my best ideas. And ideas is the very first aspect of creating a video for me, because it acts like the backbone, and all other steps is built around the core idea. And the way that I define an idea that might be useful to you is that an idea is something that is typically working well for you or for your clients, and it is something that you want to share with the world. So an idea, the way that you can take it off is that it's useful. For you right now, I'm useful to you because you will learn how you can write a YouTube video from scratch in the way that I do it. And that indicates value, right? I'm of value to you and I'm useful to you. It kind of ties together. I like to think of it as slightly new also, and being a little bit innovative. It's very hard to always innovate and always do new things, but typically you can take the idea and then like maybe package it or frame it in a different way that it feels new.
Why is it important to innovate?
I think innovation is very important because this space is very crowded and we all kind of look like each other. You know, all of us coaches coaching coaches that coaches coaches. So like me and Toby, for example, we look at a lot of other industries whenever we do inspiration for videos or concepts or content. Like we look at a lot of, for example, like coffee shops on how they do their business, because we both love the universe, right? Hence the digital coffee shop. Good questions to ask to like prompt good ideas is that, because like usually the things that you do at all times is like very natural and easy to you. So very good questions that I ask myself is like, what is working right now? Right? So for the video that I'll probably be writing today is that like what is working incredibly well is the thing that we're doing right now, which is content creation. Content creation is very broad. I can niche it down to copywriting. I can niche it down to writing itself. I can niche it down to communication and speaking. I can even niche it down to ideas only, right? We'll keep it content for now. What is the thing that you're known for? It's usually the things that clients say about you individually, and they will see that there's a pattern, right? For me, it's without a doubt the digital coffee shop. It's the philosophy towards
Let's go.
happens in Milan too. It's without a doubt the digital coffee shop, solo consulting, and the way that I like to run my business. So if we were to tie content together with what you're known for, it's probably like, let's say, innovative content, right? Something new, unique mechanisms in a sense. And is there anything new that is working well, or is there anything that you've been testing for you and yourself and for your clients that you want to particularly share? And I think this video format here is great. We've done it a few times now and it works incredibly well. And the backbone of that is, I'd say, writing it out. So like we get a pattern here of like content is working, innovative content, and the backbone of writing. So that is the idea. That is what we'll build the video around, and we'll see where we end up. We are on the way home from the coffee shop, but before we go home, we need to package the idea that we found at the coffee shop, which is the second step in creating a YouTube video. It is taking the idea that we wrote down in the book here, and then it is making sure that we wrap it very nicely in a title and a thumbnail that people would like to click and watch. So the way that we do it is that I always ask myself, what is the purpose of the video? Is the purpose of the video to bring in a new audience? Then I want to make the title and thumbnail as broad as possible. Whereas if I want the video to build trust and nurture with my existing audience, then I'll make it a lot more niched. So an example of a more broad thumbnail and title that, for example, I did a video called The One-Person Business Explained in a Certain Amount of Minutes, which is like very broad. If I wanted to make that video more niched, instead of calling it the one-person business explained in certain minutes, I would have called it the 500 grand a year solo consulting business explained in probably more minutes, so that the video is longer, requires more commitment, but also builds more nurturing. But let's wrap your idea, people. Me and Toby, we have a library. It's whenever we're brain rotting YouTube and watching everything but work, we still find some very, very cool thumbnails. So whenever we find a good thumbnail, and a good thumbnail for me is something that I want to click myself. So it's like there was something intriguing about the title, the thumbnail, and typically it's also an outlier. You can see the small boxes next to the views is an outlier score, meaning that how well did the video do compared to the average channel's baseline. So usually when a video has done well for others, it will typically do well for you. But again, what is the purpose of the video? Is it to nurture? Is it to attract people? That will, like, finding the purpose of this individual video will erase your bad relationship with low views, meaning bad video. For example, I got, as Toby said, like the last video we posted got only 500 views, which is a lot lower than baseline on the channel. But it was about client retention, financial engineering, and how I work with people, and it got me 2 clients. So that video was a success, just not on the views. So when I scroll through here, what I'm looking for is that the purpose of this video, and we've determined that it's something with content, writing, etc., is that I want it to be a little bit more broad. I want the video to attract new people in, especially also when we're recording it here in Italy, Milan, a little bit more like lifestyle broad. And I love this thumbnail. So there's something about this that makes it broad, and I love the title too. And it's also something to do with creativity, with content, writing. And it's called "This System Makes Creative Work Feel Effortless." And I really like it because I would like to watch a video that would make creative work feel effortless, right? And it has some contrarian takes in the thumbnail with like a certain word blocked out and then replaced with flow and then creative. So if we would do this and anchor it in writing, instead of creative flow, I'd probably write copywriting. And then I would use the flow in the title instead. So something along like, this writing flow makes, let's say, creative work or content creation feel effortless. I think that's what we'll go with. Let's do it. We made it back to the apartment. This is the rooftop inside of the Airbnb that we're staying, and it's probably the best place that I could have imagined to write this outline, because I always like to write my outlines, which is the next step in order to create the YouTube video. I like to write it in hand because it's a lot more free-flowing, and I just enjoy it a lot more. Whereas when I'm on my computer, I feel like I'm answering clients on Slack or making a school task. So the essential part of writing an outline for the video is that the outline must deliver upon the title and the thumbnail that we covered in the last segment. And I'll get Toby to throw in the thumbnail and the title that we decided upon. And the title is "This Writing Flow Makes Content Creation Feel Effortless," meaning that every single person that will click on this video is interested in making their content creation process effortless through writing. So that is my sole purpose as the teacher and the provider in this video, is that a person entering the video will leave with my personal process for making content creation feel effortless. So the way that I do it, it's a big task. So the way that I do it is that I always boil it down into the actions that I do for myself and what has helped me the most. So I always imagine myself, Fred, in the viewer's shoes, meaning Fred when content creation felt hard and overwhelming and a big task on my to-do list. So the process is pretty simple, is that I like listicles here. I don't have to make the videos of like, step 1 is this, step 2 is this. Like, me and Toby usually figure it out in terms of like, but the listicle principle is important because you don't just like snap your fingers and then you go from overwhelmed to effortless content. There are steps. So I always start out with like the first ever step for me of making content creation feel effortless, right? And I would say without a doubt, that is always having something to write about, meaning that I have I call it an idea bank. I'll write bank of ideas here, meaning that being creative is very, very hard to force. So I've noticed that whenever I have a bank of ideas and story-worthy moments, I can just go in there, pick one, and then it's easier for me to write out. All right. So the first outline for this video will be the bank of ideas. And when I have a bank of idea, I like to have a period of time that is for creating content. Meaning that I have creative space. And I have that in the morning. Before any work, before anything else, that's where my energy levels are the highest. And my business is built on content creation. It is the backbone for every single thing that I do, so it's the most high leverage task. So creative space, sorry. The next thing is a clear schedule. I have Toby, he's my creative director, and if I don't produce anything, he doesn't have anything to do. Meaning that I'm very, very accountable for Toby, so that he has shit to do, but also just so that I have an input baseline inside of my business, so I know what X amount of content pieces does to the performance of my business, considering revenue, client signed, etc. So once I have the bank of ideas and I have a creative space for it to unfold and I know what deliverables to hit, then I'll start the actual writing process itself, which is basically just the process that you're going through with me here. So that's a win-win, so I don't have to do that twice. And then step number 5, and probably also the last step, is putting myself in environments where I play the cards that I've been dealt, meaning that I want to make my creative work feel as enjoyable as possible. And it just happened to be on a rooftop in Milano with Toby, instead of like locked inside of like a rented Dubai studio. So it's like making creative work enjoyable. Okay, this is the finalized outline, the 5 pointers. And it's very, very rough. I asked Toby if I should like pre-prepare the outline for the video so it would seem better in a sense, but we agreed upon just like winging it, because this is the whole point of this video, is to show that you can wing content, all right? So I have a rough outline here, meaning that from start to finish, I'm pretty confident that if a person creates a bank of ideas, have a creative space every day for them to take action on the idea bank, and they have deliverables that they must meet every single week, so goals for their content creation output. They have a writing process of turning the idea into something that they can post, which of course I'll cover in that video, and then they like put themselves in a place where they get a good relationship with their creative work. I'm pretty confident that content will go from being overwhelmed to something that they enjoy. So when I have the outline, what I do is that I take, for example, the first step here of the outline, meaning bank of ideas. And I don't just tell people, the first step is that you need a bank of ideas because yada, yada, yada. The way that I always write out my outlines is that I do it in 3 steps. So the example here is bank of ideas, right? And what I want to do is that I want to tell a story about how my life and business looked like before I had an idea bank. And then I want to explain the moment where I realized that life was better when you had a bunch of good ideas. And then I want to give the golden nugget, which is how do you make your own idea bank, right? So the reason for this is that no one can really relate to the after state. Like there's not a single person watching this video that knows the feeling of effortless content creation, because if they knew the feeling, they wouldn't be watching. So I need to make sure that they can relate to me, meaning that they need to understand that Fred also was once in their shoes, feeling overwhelmed and not knowing where to find content. So I talk about life before an idea bank, realizing that it helped me a lot writing stuff down in my notes whenever I had to do content, and how to actually create that idea bank of your own. How do you find ideas? Yada, yada. And I simply just do this process before, realization, after, and then golden nugget. I do this process for every single outline. All right, we are now downstairs, and I literally just recorded the outline that we did together. I sat here with my notebook, and then I walked people through my effortless content creation process. And the production side of things and recording the actual outline, there are many ways to go about it, and I want to and I want to run you through it. The reason for making this video like a more broad head talk, a little bit more like chill chair notebook style video, was because writing for me is a very creative and personal journaling process in a sense. So I wanted to capture that in this scenery right here. Also considering, remember in point 2 when we packaged the video, I wanted this video to be a little bit more broad and a little bit more holistic. And I believe that this setup and head talk does a really good job of that. Some of my other videos and videos that my clients make are, for example, Miro board, teleboard, or like presentation videos where they walk through something visual, like a document, a process, a system. And those are incredible for teaching and breakdown and more middle of funnel and bottom of funnel videos. And then you can also, let's say that it was a more broad video still, but your audience is maybe like very much beginners. Here I'm thinking about Iman Gatsi, the good old Iman Gatsi days with like heavy animations and the studio and those kind of things. So whenever you're picking your recording setup and like production way of doing things, just think about what vibe you want the video to have. And again, what is the purpose of the video? And just be creative, people. You don't need to box yourself in like one specific format just because Fred does it, or I watched this guy do this, then I have to do that. Just like be creative. You know, if you want to sit down in a chair with some plants and your notebook, just do it, right? You're a service-based business owner. You're a coach, consultant, agency owner. People work with you at the end of the day. And now the technical side of things that I have no clue about. So I hired Toby, but most of you do not have a Toby. So I will take this thing, and then I will record Toby, and he will walk you through the technical side of things here.
All right, Fred. So, if you can come over here, Fred.
Yep.
I'll show the people what's going on behind the scenes. So first of all, sound, a very important aspect that most people overlook. What we're using here is just like a wireless mic, and then if Fred can turn around, we have it attached to him right here. Then for like the setup itself, we try to just find like a nice location, right, and then positioning Fred so that it looks symmetrical and nice to the eye. You can use the rule of thirds. I'll put in.
Thank you.
I'll put in something so that you can see what I mean. And then we have a big key light, because obviously having your subject as one of the brightest things in the scene at least is extremely important, so that attention goes to Fred and not everywhere else. So yeah, that's basically a short rundown. You can find my videography course in the description.
997. Use the code Fred at discount, then I get an affiliate. Nice. Made it home. This is not Milano. You can tell when you have to wear an overshirt inside. It's definitely Denmark. But we are back, and this is Toby's workstation, okay? And he edited the video and walked through it, edited the intro, etc. And now we've uploaded the video, which is the final step, which is after post-production, basically, right? You can see it's uploaded, and I just want to walk you through the process that me and Toby go through whenever we upload videos. And it is that we always would like to have a split test running. As you can see, we decided on the thumbnail together with you guys in the video. So we're pretty certain that the thumbnail is a winner. So the thing that we're testing against each other now is the title. So we're running the first title, which is "This writing flow makes content creation feel effortless," versus "This system makes content creation feel effortless." I like to always have A/B test running just to optimize the thing that I can optimize. And we always use, like, once you have the title and thumbnail locked in, next step is basically just the description of the video. I use the same description for all of my videos, which is basically just the next step of either working with me or moving further down my funnel, which is not really a funnel, it's just an ecosystem and my world, basically. So I send people to an explainer video, basically just like 7 minutes of going through what is the digital copy shop. I send people to my newsletter where I write an email every single day. Or the people that are the most warm, I send them over to check out my offers and how to work with me. And then I give a rundown about who I am, my achievements, what I do, just for people to get a very brief understanding of who Fred is. And that's basically it. If you want to take it to the next level, you can take the video and then repurpose it for Instagram Reels. You can take the script and turn it into newsletters. you can take the intro of the video and post as a separate, like as an Instagram reel piece that redirects people to the YouTube video. I could send out an email to my list about the YouTube video, but I think my channel has now reached a point where I want all content pieces to live their own life on YouTube. But if you don't have 8,000 subs like I do, for all of my clients, I always tell them just like repurpose your other social media platforms to get traffic on YouTube. Because YouTube in the beginning is not a platform that will get new people in. It is a platform that exists to build, nurture, and trust with your current audience that you have on your short form channels. So LinkedIn, X, Instagram. And that is it. We made it, Tubbs, from start to finish. If you want to watch the video that we wrote together in this video, you can go and check it out. But yeah, good luck on your YouTube journey. It's the best journey ever that you will ever embark on.